Hey everyone, Mia here again. So have you ever heard of the 80-20 rule? Pareto's principle is another way you probably have heard it. Most likely if you're in business you have. But today I want to show you how this principle can be applied to have both growth in your company and freedom in your life, and how you can take these strategies and kind of expand on them and go further faster within your company. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. So the 80-20 ratio is something that occurs in a lot of different things. So you might have heard it in the business world that 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your customers. So really, in a sense, it's 80% of your results comes from 20% of something else. Another example of 80% of your results is that 20% of your time that you spend, 80% of your results comes from that. So that's an interesting thing to think about when it comes to your time, is that, wow, I'm spending all this time and literally 80% of my effort is literally coming from 20%. And so today in this video, I want to talk about how you can get a return on time. So we talk a lot about return on investment, but what I want to do is show you how to get a return on time, because if you can do that first, return on investment is a result. And with that said, let's officially get started and dig into the Pareto's principle, 80-20 rule, and how it can benefit you and your business. Okay, the first thing I want to do is talk to you about this really cool hack that you can do to apply this principle. So I talked about the 80, the 20 with the time. Now, what happens if you're able to be hyper-focused on something? I talk a lot about how 80% of business is the same and then 20% is your core. But let's take that one more level deeper. What happens if you're able to put 80% of your focus and your effort into the 20% that's your core? Again, this is a really cool mathematical equation where what happens is you now get 64% of your results with just 4% of your effort. So let me say that again. So when you're able to put 80% of your effort in the 20% that is your core in your business, so you're able to be hyper-focused, you're now able to get 64% of your results from your business with just 4% of your effort. That's how the math works out. Really, that is how you can start to get freedom in your business, is by thinking, okay, how can I be more focused on my thing, right? So something to think about with business and just how it's kind of evolved and changed over the years is that there's so many more options that we have to choose from. Competition is stronger than it's ever been before, and really the one that has the speed, the agility, and the responsiveness is the one that wins in the end game. And so we have to figure out how to hyper-focus. And so with this 64-4 hack, if you always just keep it in your mind with everything you're doing, it's like, wow, and you can actually start to do even a time inventory and start to track where's my time being spent, because then you can start to determine, okay, these are the things that I shouldn't be working on, things that go to my 20%, and these are the things that aren't. And so if you're really wanting to be an entrepreneur that has a life outside of business, this is really the secret to making that happen. Okay, something that's important to also realize is your role as a visionary. So it's our job to be able to stay in a zone and in a space where we can create and where we can think big picture. And that doesn't mean like start launching a bunch of new ideas at your team, but it does mean that we need to be looking up and out to see, like, what are the speed bumps that are coming ahead? What are the things that we need to be aware of? Is this externally, as I'm going out into the market, is this resonating with people? Are there adjustments we can make? Like, we need to stay in that zone of genius. So what happens when you get out of the zone of genius? So I kind of call it a dying brain syndrome that happens to us as entrepreneurs. And it happens to me when I do it. When I have to go into the trenches of business and I have to go and do the things that I don't want to do, that I hate doing, that I kick and scream about, but I know, like, I don't have anybody else to do it and somebody's got to do it. Sometimes you have to realize what that's going to do to you as an entrepreneur. So now I've done it enough times where I've gone in the trenches and I've pulled back out, where I know what it's going to do to myself. And so now I'm very conscious about it. It's okay, here I'm going in. But at the end of the day, you also have to you have to have a plan to get yourself back out and get out as soon as possible. And so I did this last year. There was something that was in alignment with the vision. I needed to go into the trenches, and then I've made a point to get back out. And I literally have just done that the last few months, and I have to say it's so hard. And I kind of attribute it to almost like a drug addict. Not that I can super relate with that, but at the end of the day, like, kind of if you think about what addiction is, it's like you get, as entrepreneurs, it's easy to get addicted to the chaos, to the things that we probably shouldn't be doing or even focusing on, that really at the end of the day, is it good enough? You know, sometimes we think all these little things have to be perfect, but they really don't at the end of the day. If you're giving big value to your customers, you're taking care of your employees, a lot of this stuff just flushes out. And so sometimes we do sweat the small stuff too much in business. So really going back to that, like, again, the biggest problem that I think entrepreneurs face is not being able to let go. So make it a conscious thing that you're like, okay, I'm in the trenches, here's my plan to get back out, and then here's when I plan to get out. And that is super important to do if you want to have growth in your company and freedom in your life. Okay, so next we're going to talk about the common areas people get stuck when they do try to focus on their 20%. We'll talk about some of those pitfalls and then how I've solved it. But before we go into that, if you like this video, go ahead and click the like button, go ahead and subscribe to this channel and tell other entrepreneurs about this so we can make a difference in the world together and really go further faster as a community. Okay, so one of the problems where we get stuck as entrepreneurs is we think too small. I think you're probably gonna say, but Mia, you just said that we think too big. And so let me explain what I'm talking about. What I'm thinking is I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs that are just concerned about getting the revenue in, getting the growth, getting the cash flow. So they'll go and they'll launch a product and they get all this money and they're like, okay, great. And then they go spend all that and now they don't have the money to go and invest in a new launch. And so if they don't have a reoccurring model or a subscription model or something that can create sustainable revenue for you, it's like you're always doing it again, right? And you can never breathe. You can never take a vacation because it's all kind of reliant on you and doing these big launches, or if you're doing all the work in your business, like it just can't sustain itself. And so I want you to think about how sellable is my company? So I want to back into that and think, is there value in this company if I sold it tomorrow? And if not, how can you create value in it? And one of the ways you can do that is actually doing like a risk analysis and say, okay, where are the risks in my business? So if I have all my eggs in one basket with a customer or a vendor, or I don't have a good makeup of different people within my team, if I have one person doing all the work, like all of these things take away value or add value into it. If I have a reoccurring model, if I have contracts in place, all of these go in. So if you ever wanted to sell your company to make that happen. So there's really two ways to build wealth. You can build wealth through your cash flow and what you get every month from revenue, or I should say profit, and from your cash flow, and the value of your business as you grow it and scale it. And that's what's super great about business, is that you can build wealth in different areas. And then as you get that business going and sustaining, you can either stay with that one or even start another business. So many different options when you start to run your business the right way and look at your time differently. So really to get that, going back to that return on time, the way you can get a return on time is by hyper-focusing on your 20%. And then you're able to have the freedom to be able to go out and do other things. And maybe that is other businesses. Maybe it's spend more time with your family. Maybe it's serving in a community. Whatever it is that you want, you're gonna get rewards back for that investment you're making. So I've talked a lot in other videos about team sourcing, and really just, you can go watch some of those other team sourcing videos, but really team sourcing really covers 5 different pillars. So you got your branding, or your positioning in the market, your marketing, your sales, your operations. So how do you fulfill on the things that you're selling, right? Sometimes we go and we sell a bunch of stuff. We're like, oh crap, I gotta go actually service that. Or if there's returns and you need customer support, all those things that go into fulfilling on what you sold, that's operations. And then you have employee experience. So if you plan to build a team, there's a lot that goes into creating a team and creating a culture around that. Team sourcing can support you, whether you plan to build your own team or whether you plan to use team sourcing for your entire team, or you want a hybrid of both. So if you want to dig deeper into how team sourcing can handle the 80% so you can focus on your 20%, you can actually go and apply for free by going to discoverteamsourcing.com. Again, it's a free application, and what's cool about it is once you get in there, you can actually schedule a free call with us, with one of our strategists, where we can kind of take your business and team sourcing and see how they can work together. So again, you can go to discoverteamsourcing.com. All right, I'll see you there.